let's go watch shopping on eBay. And this is how you do it. I haven't bought myself a new watch for a long time, and I've got a real hankering for something vintage, something with character. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I've been hunting for a vintage watch, and that's where eBay comes into play. eBay is sponsoring this video, but I'm buying the watch. Of course, you can find all the modern stuff on here as well, but it's also full of vintage stuff, and that's so sexy. Once I have a little poke about, I'm going to be telling you some tips on how to successfully buy on eBay. The first point is to set yourself a budget. Watch collecting doesn't need to be expensive, and I'll prove a point here. This is a £500 piece of military history. This is the Seiko that was issued to the RAF pilots. That's a £500 watch. I mean, £500 is still £500, but it doesn't need to be thousands. Although I should note that this isn't part of eBay's authentication guarantee, but we are going to talk about that later on. Also, don't feel pressured to go up the perceived hierarchy of watches. Enjoy whatever you want to enjoy. You also need to do your research as well, especially when buying vintage, because you need to become essentially the expert in whatever you're buying. You don't need to be a watch expert and understand everything, but you just need to understand what it is you're looking for and what it is you're buying. That sounds obvious, but the person who's selling the watch isn't necessarily a watch expert. They could have inherited it. One of the watches that I'd love to get is, and that was actually what I was in London looking for, was a Cartier Santos. I love it when it's two-tone and the gold bezel's just a little bit scratched up. So the watch that I want is actually 29mm wide, which sounds tiny, but because it's a squared off case, it actually worked quite well. The third point is take your time, no pun intended, and look at the images. Really study what you're buying. Make sure you notice little details, because the person has taken those photographs with the intention of you noticing the details. They want you to see that this has a blemish on the bezel, hence them showing it. So you need to take your time and see the tiny details that are going on with the watch. And that's actually one of the things that I love about vintage watches. It's got character because it's lived a life. I love this dial. The next point is to ask questions. Engage with the seller. If you're unsure, don't assume, don't hope that something's going to be something. Just engage with the seller. It also gives you an opportunity to find out what the seller's like, especially if you're spending a lot of money. The last point, and an obvious one, let's just check the seller's feedback. It's such a fantastic insight. And don't just write someone off if they don't have 100% feedback. Go in and see what the comment is around the feedback, because you want to know the context around the bad feedback. So like any watch geek, I have a big list of things that I'm after. I'd love myself an old Omega Speedmaster. I love the current new Speedmasters. I love the current Speedmaster, new one with the new bracelet. Stunning machine. But it's just pricey. It's very, very pricey. And to be honest, I love it when the Speedmaster isn't on the bracelet. I like it when it's on a strap. I also like it when it's a little bit damaged. Now, hunting for a Speedmaster is a bit tricky for Omega fans because they obsess about the details. And that's a good thing, but I have a very simple criteria. I just want creamy lume. See, look at that, under £4,000. Beautiful. It's not too battered. I love that creamy lume, creamy lume, creamy lume. That's being added to my watch list. My challenge around a Cartier Santos is how much wear would it actually get? Because ultimately it would act as my dress watch, and I don't often get that many opportunities to dress up. But then also it would be nice to have something fancy. I like how many photographs this person's put up of this watch. They aren't the best quality images, but I like that they've taken the time to go around the whole watch. But if I was to compare the Speedmaster to this Cartier, the Speedmaster would certainly get a lot more wrist time. Now, there's a lot of money to spend on a watch. There's a lot of money to spend online. And eBay has a system to help us with that, to remove a lot of the risk. And the way it works is you buy the watch online as normal, and the seller sends the watch to eBay's Authentication Center. This is a third-party center. It's a whole place full of watch experts, and they inspect the watch to make sure that it is authentic, but they also make sure that you are getting what was advertised. If the watch was sold as with box and papers, then they make sure the box and papers are there. Once the inspection is done, everything's sealed up with eBay's special authentication guarantee seal, and then the watch is sent off to you. It does add another step to the buying process, but it also removes all the risk. My concern right now is the fact that the Speedmaster, the Explorer, the Cartier, these are all relatively safe watches. They're all quite predictable. What I'd really like to do is I want my collection to go back to being vintage watches. On a separate note, Tag, please do something like this again. That is absolutely gorgeous. Full of character, so damn classy. Vintage jewelry is something I keep coming back to. Let's have a look at a... See, I'd love to be a watchmaker and take this thing apart and fix it. I wonder what the story is behind that. So cool. Oh, now we're getting closer. I keep coming back to this one. Love it when watches have engraving. Engravings, typically, that would be something that would perhaps make the watch worth less. But I just love the fact that there's a story behind this. Someone gifted this to someone else, or someone loved it so much they wanted to engrave. It's got meaning. I'm a sucker for little things like that. So when you're looking at vintage watches, it's important for you to understand, I guess it's two mindsets. One, it's important for you to understand what you're looking at, to understand what damage is okay damage and what damage is bad damage. Rust is not a good sign. Water damage on the inside is not a good sign unless you can see that movement has been sorted out. Being able to look at the case and understand what marks are okay marks and whether there's been over polishing of the case and the case has been ground down. For example, this lug looks significantly thicker than that lug. Therefore, that would imply this lug has been ground down. It could just be the angle of the photograph. But no, we can see from this angle that indeed this lug is significantly thinner than that lug. But also the price is significantly less than what I'd expect from a watch of this age and this style had it been in good condition. The other mindset around vintage watches is just buy what you like. Don't worry about service parts. If the watch is good looking and it's in your price range, then game on. And this is stunning. I really like this. Okay, I think I'm getting close. No, I know I'm getting close. I know what I'm gonna go for. That's it, done. That watch is now going to get packed up, sent off to eBay's authentication center, and you're just going to have to subscribe and hit that little bell icon so you get notifications when I drop the video showing you which watch I bought. I can't wait for it to arrive. If you bought a watch on eBay and you have any thoughts, any tips on best practices, then drop a comment down below. Share your thoughts, share what you bought. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you like the style of this video, then hit the subscribe button down there and that little bell icon so you get notifications when I drop the next video and show you what I bought. If you're on Instagram, give me a follow at Adrian Barker, and I'll see you very soon. I'm kind of nervous now. I'm nervous and excited. Let's see what arrives.